Hello, good afternoon. It ain't afternoon, it's evening time.
Good evening,
Still,
man.
is the sun still out? Sun's still out. All right,
out.
so, hey, listen, good evening. This is Greg Jackson, and to my right, I don't know if y'all noticed, but we have upped our game one step. Brother Love is not with us tonight, and so we went and we got one of our heavy hitters. And so in the special seat, our special guest host for tonight is none other than Representative Bruce Antone. What's going on, Rep?
Hey man, thank you for allowing me to be here to co-host. And again, man, I just want to say thank you to Attorney Greg Jackson and thank you to
Appreciate
Ron
that.
Love. And what an honor to co-host.
Well, listen, you've been here before now.
Yeah,
You've been here before, and you're back by popular demand because we tried to get you back, and you know your rate was too high. You were higher than Marlon Wayans' rate. You know what I'm saying?
Wow,
Marlon Wayans
man.
asked for 40 grand, and Rep is like, nah, y'all gotta. Let me stop. But listen, it is a pleasure to have you here with us tonight. Brother Love is on special assignment. He's doing some things, and so whenever we started thinking about who is it that can take the show to the next level, to have some great conversations, have some fun with it, but also bring some great information, you were the first person that we thought about. So we want to say
Oh, wow.
some
Time I've been elected. So.
listen. So not only is he here as a co-host, he is here as a newly re-elected representative, going back to spend some time in Tallahassee.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. Woohoo!
Now, you know, like to get you on the little thing, you swing around and little horn and everything like that. But so listen, so this is your which term for this particular seat?
This is my second term
Okay.
for this time. So I've been there 3 times,
Yeah.
3 individual times, but this is my second term of 4. So I got to get through these 2 years and then get reelected again.
Listen,
Yeah,
that's not going to be hard. I mean, it seems like every year people are recognizing and realizing the work that you're doing, and it's getting easier and easier for you to just keep, the next year people only just learn their lesson and you just run unopposed. That's what I'm thinking.
Man, every 2 years my enemies find each other, right? So this time, even more enemies.
You get challenged because that's what you're doing. You're doing some great work, and we appreciate you for doing that.
Yeah.
But let's talk about some other things that's taking place. Just this past week, the state of Florida was in the target of a hurricane.
Hurricane
And
Helene.
Hurricane Helene, and it seems as if Central Florida,
Right.
that we kind of dodged the bullet, so to speak.
We did.
But the Big Bend area where I'm from, they got battered again, but not as bad as they thought.
Right.
And this storm, which was a Cat 4 storm when it hit Florida, goes to Georgia and Carolina as a tropical storm and wreaks havoc up that way.
My college classmate in Cincinnati said they got 2 days rain
Up in Cincinnati?
in Cincinnati, Ohio, from this storm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
This thing wreaked some havoc, some devastation that I've not seen.
Yeah.
And maybe I've been missing something in television coverage, but man, this thing just,
Yeah.
I mean, the way it hit Atlanta, the way it hit North Carolina,
Mm-hmm.
the former Lieutenant Governor of Florida, his brother had to go rescue his daughter. She was up in the mountain somewhere, a landslide.
Oh,
So
wow.
they had to drive up there, one of them big old wheel trucks, man, but they
Yeah.
had to go
They
rescue.
had to go get her. Yeah. Yeah.
His niece, man. That's some serious stuff that went down this time.
I'm gonna tell you what's real interesting
Uh-huh.
to me about this storm, because it hit as a Cat 4 storm, as we said.
Mhm.
Imagine
Mhm.
if this storm, and we were just talking about 2016, if this storm was like the storm that set off on the coast of Florida for about 2 days,
Right.
and just dumped rain and wind for
Right.
2 days. If this storm would have been that storm, this state would have been devastated.
Yeah.
But luckily, I mean, when it was out in the Gulf, my so that it got through quicker. But then when it gets to Georgia and those places, man, it's yeah.
Yeah, that was someplace in Tampa, man. A two-story building, 20 feet tall, and the water went over the top of the building.
Oh, no, see, stuff like that I didn't hear.
Yeah,
that I didn't hear.
Serious stuff. Atlanta,
yeah.
folks got 6.5 feet of water in their neighborhoods, and supposedly this was the first storm in 100+ years that it reached that kind of flooding.
Oh, I can
that
believe
kind of flooding on
yeah,
that.
I can believe
You
it.
know.
I can believe. But, and not only the Atlanta area, but last year, my wife and daughter and I, we spent some time in Asheville, North Carolina. And if you hear about what's taking place in Asheville right now, they just had cell phone towers restored, but their streets are still flooded.
Yeah.
And I mean, like you're saying, I mean, this has been about a century since this type of storm has hit. And I'm sitting there and thinking, I'm like, why didn't I know about some of this other stuff? And I'm gonna tell you why. It's because our daughter was in Tallahassee, and I was worried and concerned about getting her. So I hate to say this, but I was like, forget everybody else. Let me. So that's why I didn't hear about the thing in Tampa, though.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
But the storm missed Tallahassee about 56 miles. It went 56 miles to the east, which was, lucky for Tallahassee, man.
Yeah.
Lucky.
Yeah.
And it hit the least populated area of Florida. Now, that's a blessing on one hand.
Yeah.
On the other hand, the people in that path of the storm, they call hell.
Yeah. Now, I claim Tallahassee because I grew up in Tallahassee.
Right.
All right. But when the storm hit in Taylor County, that's where I was born.
Wow.
And so I have family that actually left Taylor County to go to Duval County because that's where my parents are now. But yeah, I mean, you're right. My aunt was hearing that there were roofs off the buildings because remember last year this time, that hurricane hit and just kind of wiped Perry out.
Right.
But I mean, listen, our hearts, blessings, and prayers go out to everyone who has been affected by the storm. Thank goodness that the state of Florida, to a large extent, escaped some real devastation with this storm.
Right. And I'll just say from a legislative standpoint, we just need to make sure that the people in those towns get whatever resources they need. And one of the things we did was we passed a law this past year that will give cities and towns and counties loans over a number of years to help defray the cost
Oh, really?
of rebuilding. Yeah.
Oh, that is outstanding. The emergency.
Right.
Had a representative what all is good here in the state of Florida. So yeah. But now the other thing too, though, we're talking about this storm, but Kirk is out there too. So there's a whole nother storm that's out there that's brewing. So we're going to encourage individuals to remain safe. Because there is another storm out there, and hurricane season doesn't end until November.
So like November something, but I would just say, folks, pay attention to the weather like it's coming your what have you. Don't go to the just have to. Now I don't know where you're going. That's what it comes down to.
Commercial break so that we can shift.
Okay.
Because there's some stuff that we got to talk about, and I don't want to give it to them all at one time. We don't want to hurt them all at one time. So we're going to take a quick commercial break. We're going to come back. We're having a great conversation with Representative Bruce Antone, and we're going to be talking all things that are important, entertaining, and exciting here on Let's Talk Nation.
That's what I'm talking about.
They break, I fix. Mercedes-Benz, BMWs, Jaguars and Porsche. Joe's Quality Auto Repair. I specialize in European cars. They break, I fix at Joe's European Quality Auto Repair. Located at 1240 State Road 436 in Altamont Springs. They break, I fix. Call me, mention Let's Talk Nation and bring your certified dealership repair quote. And I beat by 30%. Remember, they break, I fix. Call me at Joe's European Quality Auto Repair at 407-409-6040. Again, 407-409-6040. After they break, I fix. Joe's European Quality Auto Repair.
2017, 22.
So listen, Dre, we sitting up here, we having a conversation. We still talking about the storms. We coming back. So Brother Armando came in and he gave us some news that hurricane season ends November 30th, which means that we have exactly 2 months from today to continue with these storms or potential storms out there in the Atlantic or even the Gulf Coast,
Right.
Of the Gulf of Mexico is what we've seen. So.
Yeah, so folks, just pay attention.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, but listen, so we talked a little bit about politics, and I was telling you that there was a voter education forum, St. Paul AME Church, just the other day, and there are going to be some other forums. What is it that you are hearing and seeing about the folks' excitement or lack thereof of this upcoming election?
Well, I think there's a lot of folks that's really excited about this election. Now, of course, they're all the older people over the age of 40. They're excited about Kamala Harris. And then I got into an argument with some folks over breakfast in Winter Garden this morning with some folks talking about Donald Trump. And these two ladies...
Do I want to ask what the argument was about? Do I want to ask?
It was just ignorant.
It's some crazy stuff? Okay.
Yeah,
we're going to leave it with some crazy stuff. Okay.
Yeah. And so they were on one side, I'm on one side, and we kind of eventually got, okay, look, let's just leave that alone.
Right.
Let's enjoy our breakfast. But, you know, they were from Venezuela. They were claiming that Kamala was a man. They done read all this stuff on the internet. And I'm like, lady, I know the lady personally.
So wait.
That's how crazy this stuff is this time.
So out of all the things they could say,
Mm-hmm.
they want to come up with Kamala Harris.
Stuff on social media. Now the other part is these young folks. I am really concerned about the young men. I was in D.C. a couple of weeks ago, and a guy. And so 20 to 25% of black men between the ages of 25 and 40
Right.
are either going to support Trump or they're not going to vote.
Say that one more time.
They're either going to support Trump or not vote at all.
And what's that percentage again?
20 to 25%.
Wow. So, you know, that's interesting. One of the things that we were pointing out is that, for the most part, the Democratic Party has African American females to thank for continuing to go to the polls, to vote. But it seems as if African American males, black males right now are, I don't know, I can speculate as to what it is, but I'm just going to say for right now, I don't know exactly what it is. I can't put my finger on it, but black males are very, very apathetic towards the voting process right now.
I would say a couple of things. I think the Republican Party and that social media apparatus has done a good that whole thing was Kamala ain't talking about nothing, right? But I'm like, homeboy ain't talking about that either.
Ain't nobody talking about that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, one of them talking about eating dogs and cats.
Right.
You know, the other one trying to bring it back to something.
Right.
Listen, we talked about that last week, and I was like, come on now. Because the thing of it is, listen. I understand that. Listen, and we encourage that. But I said, you know, listen, Trump missed some good opportunities to help people to maybe want to support, I mean, if you think of it. But when he started talking about dogs, eating dogs and cats and pets, and then he went off on this tangent where all she said was, people are leaving your rallies. He didn't answer the question for a whole minute to say how big his rallies are.
Well, here's some other stuff I picked up on Facebook. So you got young black men, and one of them was a pastor, saying, hey man, make it make sense. How can we support this black woman who's married to a white guy? I'm like, God dog, man. If that's who she loves.
I did that for a minute too.
Oh, okay, all right.
But the only thing I said is this. That's all I said. I said, I'm not certain if she understands a black man's issues. If when she goes home at night, she's not going to a black man that had to deal with the world that day. Now, but I pulled away from that because my thing is, you marry who you love, and that shouldn't matter, and it doesn't matter.
But these days, them young black men dating
everybody.
But
listen. we all know
Uh-huh.
that the one area of the population that is sorely underrepresented
Right.
underrepresented for whatever reason are African American males.
Right.
And so African American females, and I hate to say it this way, but they don't have a whole lot of choices.
Right.
So yeah, if they don't have a lot of choices within their race, and they connect and they fall in love with someone, and it happens to be someone of a different race,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like
You know
you
what I'm
don't think. So these young black men seem to think they made a whole lot of money during the Trump administration, right? So I'm like, dude, what you make, about 3,000, 5,000? Yeah, man. That ain't no money. But this dude is saying racist stuff all day, every day. He hates Haitians. Let me back up. He says disparaging things
Okay,
about
all right.
Haitians, Mexicans, Muslims, and it's like, dude, are y'all okay with that? So you made $3,000 or $5,000 in 4 years, off the stock market or whatever.
Right.
But it's okay if he dislikes you.
but now listen, all right, listen, because Brother Love ain't here tonight.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I got to be Brother Love.
All right.
I got to be Brother Love. Now I have to always remind people I am a
Right.
Democrat, but now I got to be Brother Love for
Right.
it. Now because Representative Antone, the tent of the Republican Party is big. That's what Brother Love always tells us. It's big
Okay.
under his tent.
All
So I mean, if that's the message, you know what I'm saying? We calling all the brothers in too. You seen that tent yet?
No, that tent don't exist.
It exists.
I
I'm telling you it
serve
exists.
with them.
I'm telling you it exists.
We got a Haitian legislator who does everything he can to pass laws that hurt Haitians.
Yeah. About that
Mhm.
because you were at the forefront, and
Uh-huh.
I mean, you fought tooth and nail for that project, and I saw you over in Eatonville a couple of times because I'm over
Right.
there as well.
Right.
And I mean, listen, I thought it was a sure thing for Eatonville.
It could have been.
What the heck happened?
Well, here's a couple of things. First of all, there was minimal participation from the town of Eatonville's leadership. That
Okay.
was one problem.
Okay.
They joined hips with somebody that don't look like us to put together a proposal and basically said, don't work with Bruce. 'Cause crazy stuff. So that was number one.
Okay.
And then the leadership in the House of Representatives, and I'm not faulting the speaker, but the speaker represents St. Augustine.
Where it went?
Right. And so he's
Yeah.
like, when I submitted this proposal in July of last year, right,
Uh-huh.
I get a call from his office, said, you know what, the speaker said he's going in a different direction. Museum. And so tearing apart St. Augustine's proposal.
Oh, wow.
Man, they ran a number. They had stacked the committee so that it was 5-4. So it was an uphill battle, but if we had just had some participation from the town of Edenville,
Yeah.
man, we could have pulled this thing off. And so it all started, I put this together.
Right.
I went to Jerry Demings and I said, hey man, I'm trying to get $30 million. I want to build an amphitheater over at Edenville and the museum,
Oh,
right?
really? You in favor of that too?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, this is,
Because listen, that could be like what they see right now in Tampa right now.
Right. Mhm.
And all of the commerce that's been built from
Right.
that.
Mhm.
And you know, we have an amphitheater over in Apopka, and this
Right.
so just imagine if you had that on I-4.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, I cut you off. My bad.
No. So I was going to put the amphitheater right there at Kennedy and I-4, and then this museum, which was going to be like 250,000 square feet. The museum in D.C. is 400,000 square feet. So Mayor Deming said, if you get your 30 from the legislature, I got 30. So we starting at 60, right? And they still voted against us and went with St. Augustine. They had $0 they brought to the
you
table.
gotta be kidding
Yeah,
me.
so it was never about what was the right thing. I mean, I did 100+ interviews on this thing nationwide. And so I ended up with an article in Black Enterprise, right? Where I was criticizing the black leadership in Northeast Florida for supporting a museum in St. Augustine
Right.
that ain't got but 700 black folk. There
Wow.
were 15,000 folks in town of St. Augustine.
Wow.
700 black folk, right? It is an hour from Jacksonville.
Right.
It's an hour from Daytona. It's an
Yep.
hour from Gainesville. 2.5 hours from here. We have 75 million tourists coming here, right?
And
so we would have got a
Yeah.
million tourists to come in here and pay $10. This thing would have been self-supported.
Wow.
And then I'd gone up to D.C. I'd met with NASA. I said, there's no black astronaut museum, right? So y'all bring all y'all stuff here, right? I reached out to the Department of Defense and I said, y'all got all the history on black folks in the military.
Right.
So we're going to set you aside 10,000 feet here for the blacks in the military, 10,000 feet for black astronauts. We're going to do some white astronauts. We can put the state of Florida's history museum here, right? So I had mapped this whole thing out. They weren't ready for that. And actually when I went to the governor's office and said, I got 30 million. I need 30 million. The governor's office said, how about you come up with 60? I was like, how about you just come up with 30, man? You're putting the ball way out there, right?
Right.
But it was crazy, man. And then young people, young people don't always play ball with black folks. We got to go against what's right.
Well, it's like the legislator that you were saying,
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So,
Right. So I'm sorry I got so animated about that.
But no, listen, because I remember you were working on this, and I remember I was tracking it. I was like, this may be a real thing. And then the next thing I know, I'm just like, well, what happened?
It was
So,
a game changer.
wow.
And I'll tell you what really happened locally about this and why there was opposition, and it's just crazy, man.
Wow.
Yeah, your people,
Wow.
man.
Well,
I'm sorry I'm being
listen,
so animated.
that's why we're here. No, that's why we're here.
Okay.
We good.
All
So,
right.
but listen, but I appreciate you for giving me that update.
Okay.
But listen, so black astronauts. So I'm looking at this sheet here. Are these actual astronauts I'm looking
Yeah.
at? So what I'm looking at right here are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 female African American black astronauts.
19 black astronauts have gone into space, so you got to go above 100,000 feet. 19, like 74 white women. So I'm going to do the white women too here, right?
Right.
So that way we can pull the white women. If you go over to Kennedy Space Center, they get 1.2 million people a year visiting.
At the Kennedy Space Center?
Yes. And it costs like $75. Yeah.
Wow. So, what's the likelihood that something like this comes back in some other iteration? So let's say
I'ma bring
maybe
it back
it's not,
up this
maybe
year.
it's not, maybe it's not the Black History Museum. Maybe it's something else. Is it something else we can do? Because the thing in St. Augustine is gone now, right? Or do we still got a fighting chance?
It's just a recommendation.
Oh, so we still got a fighting
And the
chance.
speaker termed out.
Oh, so we still got a fighting
Right, we
chance.
got a big good
You're still
chance.
fighting it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's all I need to know.
Yeah.
That's all I need to know.
Yeah.
So good. So let's definitely keep that. Let's definitely keep conversations going on about that. So.
And I'm sorry I diverted our attention away
No, look,
to that.
bro.
Okay.
That's why you're here.
All right. Okay. All right.
We can talk about anything, man. We can talk
Okay.
about anything. But listen, so why we talk about anything? So we talked about voter apathy. We talked about eating cats and dogs. We talked a little about that, right? We talked about Kamala Harris being a man. We talked
Right.
about that too, right?
Right.
we talked about it being married to a white man. We talked about that too, all right? All right, so let's go to the vice presidential debate.
Wow.
What's you thinking, man?
My
What you
thing is, Tim Walz got to bring it.
Yeah.
And if it were me,
You ever met Vance? J.D.
Huh?
Vance?
I've never met him.
You met Walls?
Uh-uh.
Okay.
No.
Cause I hadn't met either one of myself.
But if it were me, man, I'd start off, man, you around here telling a lie and you admitted that it was a lie about people eating them cats and dogs,
You ever met
right?
him just like that?
Yeah. And then you call them doggone women that ain't got no kids, cat people,
Okay,
right?
Yeah.
And then you against abortion stuff, then you said Donald Trump was a Nazi, some crazy stuff, right? So I would hit him there and see if you can throw him off balance, like Kamala did with Trump, right? Talk about that crowd slide, right?
Get him off his game.
Yeah, they lead.
Listen, the problem is, though, the problem is, I don't think Vance is that dense, for lack of a better phrase. I think Vance will see where he's coming from. Now, if it was Trump, Trump would jump all over that. All you got to do is just say you ain't got enough people in your crowds at your campaign rallies, and Trump would lose his mind.
Well, see, this is what I've done in political debates, right?
Yeah.
They might ask me a question, what's the weather like today? Well, you know what? The question we need to be talking about today is why, ain't nobody catching all the loose dogs in the neighborhood. So
Right.
you go talk about what you want. And that's what Waltz needs to do.
You need to circle back and bring
Yeah.
back to what he want to talk about.
And before you know it, that hour and a half is up.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you talk about what you want to talk about during the debate. You kind of answer that question.
Right.
But, you know, and while you're saying whatever, that just reminds me, we need to be talking about this over here too, right?
Right. But
And that's how you do it.
and
Yeah.
you're right, because, you know, the issues that Walsh is solid on,
Mm-hmm.
that I believe he's solid on, are women's rights.
Uh-huh.
I believe he is solid on immigration,
Mm-hmm.
because Minnesota is one of those states that has opened its arms to immigrants and things of that
Mm-hmm.
nature, so to speak. And I think that he is also strong on the middle class American families, where I think that he's
Right.
strong.
Mhm.
Now,
Coach.
if they go too deep
Right.
into immigration
Mm-hmm.
and take it away from his area of comfort, I think he's gonna lose his stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's gonna lose his stuff. If they talk too much about the economy, I think he loses his stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think Vance is going to be well prepared and well healed
Right.
to address those types of issues. Now, and I think I heard that he's been preparing for a month now, and so he's been sitting there for a month wherever he is, and I think that Vance is going to be locked in. So
He
you're
will.
right. Walls is going to have to. So what was that? What year was that? University of Florida wasn't like doing great this one year, and they played the University of Georgia, and it was either the first play or the first touchdown. The entire University of Florida team rushed the field, like the first play, and they just rushed the field, and everybody's like, what just happened? And the University of Florida went on to beat
Right.
the Georgia Bulldogs that game. And it was because it was like the first thing that they did in that game is they did something that nobody was expecting. And the rest of the game, Georgia's like, what just happened? And they still trying to figure this out. And they playing their game now. So yeah, if Walsh pulls a University of Florida versus Georgia on him, I think he might.
And he can
might
do
get
that
it.
on immigration. As soon as the immigration question come up, look, it's too many coming over here, right? We gonna stop that.
Right.
When me and Kamala get that, we gonna stop that day one. And the way you get elected is you tell people what they want to hear.
That's right.
You tell the truth, you're gonna lose, right? So if Walsh just comes straight
What did you
out,
just say?
if you tell the truth, you're gonna lose. But you gotta tell folks what they want to
Lord.
hear. And what is Trump doing? He's talking about grievances. It's too many immigrants coming in this country, right? They just taking over your whole community. The bread costs too much, the gas costs too much, and that was the other issue the guy brought up in this presentation about the kid. It's
Right.
like, the issue ain't inflation,
Right.
it's cost. Stuff costs more.
Okay.
They understand that.
Yeah.
Inflation.
Yeah. Inflation is like this for most people, right? Yeah.
Bread costs more, gas costs more. Well, over time, everything goes up in price, right?
Yeah.
So-
Listen. I was born in the 70s, grew up in the 70s and 80s.
Right.
A Hershey bar, when I was growing up, was 25 cents.
There's a nickel
That
out.
same, that same Hershey bar,
Uh-huh.
nothing changed really.
Right.
It's probably going to run you about $2 now. So you're right. It's the same thing. It's the same product. Although I think that the food back when we were coming up was better,
Right.
tastes better. But it's the same thing. But it costs more because of the nature of how things just go up over time.
Right.
The present value of dollars over time and how that goes up. So, but if they don't understand that,
Yeah. But cars cost more.
Yeah.
Cars started costing more during COVID, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cars probably cost 25% more during COVID. Housing has gone up.
Yeah.
That ain't Joe Biden. It's not Kamala Harris. It's just a function of time. Everything goes up. But when I get elected, me
I'ma
and
change all
Kamala,
of that.
we're going to change all that,
change
right?
all that.
We're going to make everybody drop the price
yeah,
the first day.
yeah. Now whether or not they do it or not,
And we're going to let y'all come to the inauguration for free.
everybody.
Yeah.
And they're going to let them in the White House too?
No, we didn't do the White House, man. That's my house.
And listen, I am sitting here. Brother Love is on special assignment. We have the State Representative Bruce Antone, who has joined us tonight. And if you all cannot tell, we are having a great conversation. We're talking about any and everything because Representative Antone is just that talented. Listen, people don't know. People don't know that you're not just a state representative. You are not just a tall, handsome man. You are a graduate of the Tuskegee
University.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tuskegee Institute, but now it's Tuskegee University.
Now, Tuskegee with a degree in what?
Election engineer.
People
I'm
don't.
governor
A
Felix.
lot of
Yeah.
people don't know that. So when Representative Anton and stuff. So when I first met him, I'm still never gonna tell people about our first conversation. I'm never gonna tell nobody about it. I got like this dude is off the rocker, but he probably one of the smartest people you ever want to meet. And that's probably why the things that you think about how you put things together, it probably takes people off guard.
It does.
It takes them off guard because they're like, wait a minute, why do you know all of this stuff? And then when they realize you know it because of how you came up and where you then it's like, God, dog, by the time they catch up with you, already passed them. But yeah, so I just wanted to just take a moment of pause because Representative Anton is a sharp guy, sharp to attack. All right, so Wall's gonna have to come out, gonna have to hit him in the mouth, and then go from there.
Yeah. Pop him a couple times, step back, do some rope-a-dope,
So
take
now,
a few hits.
all right, so but now let's have this conversation now.
Uh-huh.
Let's say that Walls does not light it up tomorrow night. Does that really affect Kamala Harris?
It will.
You think so?
It will.
Because remember now, typically, vice presidential, well, I don't know. Let me think on this for a second. Because vice presidential debates typically don't affect the presidential candidates too much. But I think that started changing. If I'm getting my history right, because Dan Quayle, you might forget about that.
Right.
But if I'm getting my history right, I think it really and truly started changing with Barack Obama. Is when I really think that people started paying closer attention to the vice presidents. I don't think people was checking for Gore when Clinton was running.
Right.
I don't think people really checking for Cheney when Bush. But I think that when you had this African American president or candidate for president at the time, and the person that's going to be behind him is a person that we may have to look to, and especially listen, because quietly African Americans was like, this dude ain't gonna make it.
Right.
They gonna try to assassinate things. So we were paying close attention to who's the guy that may have to be there if he's not there.
Right.
And I think personally, that's when I really started paying attention to vice presidential debates and candidates as well. So,
and I will say the 2024 election is like no other election ever in history, right?
No.
Because Kamala Harris led a coup and threw Joe Biden off the ticket. That's what they say.
So.
That's what they.
So we have a lot of folks on Let's Talk Nation. They chime in, and so Brother Burns is saying that it's going to matter more because there's not going to be another debate between Harris and Trump, and that's a good point because typically we don't end off on the vice presidential debates, and I'm pushing myself now, and it may have been. I don't think we've had a vice presidential debate this late in the process.
Not that I know of.
And so I think that a lot of folks are going to be paying attention for the simple fact that this is it.
Right.
And these are going to be the mouthpieces of the president elect.
But if Walsh does what Kamala did to Trump, game over. I think the game is already over and that Kamala's going to win. Right? But if Walsh comes through and shuts homeboy down, it's done. It's going to be like, and then they're going to be doing just like that head of state movie with Chris Rock. And then you're going to see all them folk rushing down the street. Because see, Trump done told everybody, don't use no absentee ballot. Don't vote by ballot. Go to the poll. So what's going to happen election day, man? They going to come storming out, right? So, and to me, this election is head of state. Because think about what happened with Chris Rock.
I remember.
Yeah.
I remember,
And
yeah.
I know that sounds crazy.
Yeah.
But that's just kind of how I look at the world.
Listen,
man.
sometimes life imitates art.
Right. Yeah.
Even if it's comedy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sometimes life imitates art, even if it's comedy. And listen, let me take a moment
Okay.
to say hello to someone who's joined us tonight. One of my mentors, John Morrow.
Okay.
He is probably one of the top trial lawyers. He was one of the top trial lawyers. I think he's retired now. I want to be where he is.
All right. All right.
I don't see him jump on and join as much, so he must have heard that we had a state rep on. That's the only time he'll listen. We got somebody important.
Okay.
He'll listen in. So I just wanted to say hello to my good friend John Morrow, who's joined us for tonight's show.
Good evening, John.
But listen, I think that is. I think that what you said about people are still trying to find a reason not to vote for Kamala Harris is going to be key. It's going to be key. And there's not going to be another presidential debate. And
She
so-
cannot afford, Walz cannot afford to make mistakes, and more importantly, Kamala cannot make any mistakes.
Yeah. Moving
No.
forward.
Mhm.
Moving forward.
Yeah.
Moving forward. Well, let's pivot from politics for a
Okay.
minute. I talked to you a little bit about this when you walked in the door, and I got a later stage now. So about 2 or 3 months ago, Rep, and I'm a boxing fan. Anybody that
Right.
knows me knows I'm a boxing fan. I won my first dollar bet when Muhammad Ali fought Leon Spinks
Wow.
and won the heavyweight championship for the third time. First time
Okay.
it's ever been done.
Right,
And I
right.
remember that. And so I've been a boxing fan ever since then. And just watching Muhammad Ali
Right.
just in general. You know what I'm saying? Muhammad Ali was just a dynamic individual. So I watched the boxing matches now, and there was a fight between two, I want to say they're welterweights. I think they're fighting 140, 147, something like that. One guy by the name of Devin Haney. Devin Haney is a world champion. He had all 4 belts, had gone and beat Kambosos twice over in Australia. A very decorated, very accomplished fighter. Against a guy by the name of Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia, he is a very talented fighter. He is a social media star. A lot of folks knock him because he's more into social media than he really is into boxing.
Right.
And even when he's training, he's out, drinking and stuff. And
Right.
he's very outward about,
Right.
his lifestyle. So they go into this boxing match. Devin Haney is a dedicated fighter. He
Right.
eats, lives, breathes boxing
Right.
all day, every day. Ryan Garcia, you see him, he out of the club.
Right.
He chilling. You understand what I'm saying? They go into this fight. Devin Haney is the presumptive favorite because he's a champion.
Right.
He's been through battles. He's been in big fights. He took
Right.
the belts from a very accomplished fighter who took the belts from another accomplished fighter by the name of Lomachenko. And I know a lot of folks know what I'm talking about, but I'm talking boxing right now. And so Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia, they get to the weigh-in, and Ryan Garcia, it's like something's wrong with him. I mean, he's like acting, aggressive and strange, and I'm thinking, this dude is on something.
Right.
But he's just like, I'm trying to psych him out like Muhammad Ali
Right,
would do.
uh-huh,
Like Muhammad
right.
Ali would do stuff like that.
Right.
Muhammad Ali was the master of that. And so Ryan Garcia, in the weigh-in,
Right.
comes in 3 pounds overweight.
Ooh.
3 pounds overweight. Devin Haney said, okay, for every pound that you're overweight while they're at the press conference, for every pound you're overweight, I want $500,000. So Ryan Garcia happily shells over $1.5 million if Devin Haney wants to continue to fight with him being
Right.
overweight. Now, there are weight limits for a reason in boxing.
Right.
Now, what people have to understand is that if a person comes in at 160, or let's say in this case, if they come in at 135, when they rehydrate, they're probably going to rehydrate to 20 pounds over what that weight is.
Right.
So Ryan Garcia, who's already bigger and already 3 pounds overweight,
Right.
is probably going to come into the fight probably 25 pounds heavier than what he was at that weigh-in. Devin Haney still wants to take the fight. All right. Fight night happens. Devin Haney gets beat up. I mean, he gets the Stubby beat out of my girl. He got the Stubby beat out of him. It was embarrassing. No one saw it coming.
Wow.
Ryan Garcia knocked him down 2 or 3 times and beat him. Now, because he came in overweight, the belts didn't exchange
Right,
hands.
right,
But if
okay.
if he had to come in
Right.
or whatever, he'd have been fine. A week later, news flash. Ryan Garcia has a banned substance in his system.
Ooh.
And he has a form of steroids in his system.
Ooh.
And so that was sample A.
Right.
Sample B comes out. One of the substances isn't there, but the other substance is still there.
Wow.
So Ryan Garcia, basically, they're saying was taking performance-enhancing drugs for this fight.
Wow.
All right. Now, but how much does that really help you? How much
A
does it really
lot.
help you? All right. So, what Devin Haney did was he petitioned to the commission, box commission. They took away his loss. And I think that was the right move. They took away his loss.
Right.
All right. This week, Rep, I don't know how you feel about this. We're gonna have to have a conversation about it. But this week, Rep, Devin Haney has filed the lawsuit against Ryan Garcia. And he filed the lawsuit as it relates to the fight that they had 3 months ago. One allegation is fraud. I get it. Fraud.
I'm with you on that one.
Listen, if he was taking this performance
Right.
enhancing drug, he should
Right.
have. Listen, that's fraud. You came
Right.
into this boxing match and you had some shenanigans. Next one. Unjust enrichment. Because they got millions of dollars for this
Right,
fight.
right.
I think they're saying somewhere in the range of like $20 million.
Wow.
So Ryan Garcia was unjustly enriched because he came into this fight
Right.
with a banned substance. Now the second and the third one, I don't know. Because the third one is battery.
Yeah, well.
I want to He's saying that there was think about what battery is.
Unfair advantage.
Well, no, an unlawful touching is a battery. Now listen, like I said, I get the fraud. I get the fraud.
Right.
I get the unjust enrichment. But you were in a boxing match. You were in a fight. What is this? Because what I thought about, because remember now, I've been watching boxing for a long time.
Right.
Think about when Margarito was popped with Pastor Plas in his gloves.
Right.
And he fought Miguel Cotto and beat Miguel Cotto to a bloody pulp. I mean, I watched that fight that night because I was a Cotto fan. Miguel Cotto did not file a battery suit against Margarito. All right. Let's talk about when Mike Tyson, and everybody remembers this fight.
Bit that in.
Yeah, when he bit the man's ear. Evander Holyfield has yet to file a battery lawsuit. Let's talk about the other boxers who they have found with substances, such as one of the greats, which is Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez, who was found with the banned substance. He said it was because of tainted meat, and he won his fight. The fighter that he beat did not file a battery lawsuit against Miguel Cotto. So I understand that the natural thing is, well, wait a minute, if he had a substance, then something should happen. But battery in a fight?
Man, let's just say we're trying to save face. We're trying to save face. I'm trying to get my win. He was overweight. He had some drugs in him, performance enhancement. He ain't gonna get tired because he got them pads.
Oh, he should get tired.
Right.
Now that you mentioned it, oh man, he was, oh my goodness.
I tried it when I was in college.
Yeah,
you can run all day.
What was it? Was it a Ephedra?
No. It was just steroid then. And you get a shot. You can run all day. And get tired.
I told y'all, I don't know what's gonna come out of the ref's mouth. You was playing sports?
Yeah, run track.
Oh, really?
My teammate was on them too.
Did it help though?
A little bit, but it really helped my teammate.
Really?
Yeah, because he was 13th fastest in the world.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I ain't gonna ask no names.
Yeah, he gained 20 pounds.
A muscle? Oh, yeah, a
Yeah,
muscle,
got
yeah.
mean.
Yeah, aggressive.
Everything, yeah.
Because I'm saying, so
Yeah.
Ryan Garcia, when you were watching him to the lead up and the build up of the fight, he was very aggressive. And it was almost to the point of like, he's on something.
Yeah.
And then come to find out, he's on something. So that's the question. All right, so let's talk this shit. I'm saying, I don't believe a boxer should be filing battery lawsuits
He shouldn't.
in a fight. Now, I get the fraud. I agree 100%.
Right.
I agree with the fraud. He came in, he had something. I agree with the unjust enrichment.
Right.
And so the real question is, and what people are saying, because a lot of people didn't like Devin Haney anyway.
Right.
And they were saying, listen, he hasn't, he's been touched before, and he's been hurt in fights. And it's like, you know what? He's not like a real champion. He doesn't, he doesn't hit like he fought Pedrajas and dropped Pedrajas, but Pedrajas got up and kept fighting.
Right.
And so people just like, he got what he deserved. Yeah, he got what he deserved.
Right.
And now that he's filing a battery lawsuit for being in a boxing match, now other boxers are looking at him like
He's preserving his reputation, man.
he's trying.
Yeah.
He's trying, but listen, man, he's catching it right now, though.
I
And I understand. And listen, so how many? You ever been to the Solar Bears game? The hockey. So listen, I got season ticket. I'm gonna have to get you to come up to the game. I've never been until last year.
Okay.
It's the best time you ever gonna have. Everybody that I take with me to a Solar Bears game, they say it's the best time they've
When they're
had.
playing hockey
Yeah,
and
so,
chopping folk with sticks. Yeah.
and listen, when
Good stuff, bro.
it was
To the
one
wall.
night. Yeah, no, listen. Oh man, it was one night. I took some people. and I said, listen. I said, now they're gonna fight.
Right.
And they just have to be used to it.
Right.
Within the first 30 minutes, 4 fights broke out.
That's what I'm talking about.
4 fights broke out. Now, my point is this: I've never seen a hockey player because they're going there to play hockey.
Right.
They're not going to get into a fight, go home the next day and say, "I'm about to file this lawsuit for battery on this dude."
But they're going to get it back on the
Oh,
ice.
oh, and they get him.
They're going to trip them up,
Oh, they
chop
get
them
'em.
with the stick,
And listen,
then fall on 'em.
And listen, and if they're playing like back-to-back games, oh, they can't wait till the next
Right.
night. Oh, they can't wait. And you can tell when they come on the ice, they head. I think they just put they don't even use their sticks. They just come out there with no sticks that night. So, but listen, but that is that was interesting to me. And when I saw it, I was like, I gotta talk about this boxer that wants to file a battery lawsuit.
Yeah, but if one of them hockey players find out about this lawsuit, they going to file one.
Oh man, absolutely. So listen, I know that we touched on a lot of things. We could talk about P. Diddy, we could talk about Eric Adams,
Man.
but I know there is some things that
Let's
some
talk
people
about
are
P.
talking
Diddy,
about.
man.
Oh, you want to talk about P.
Yeah,
Diddy?
man, that's some crazy stuff, man. But
That's-
it's by
that's
time
wild.
for him to go down, man.
They've been talking about P. Diddy for a while.
Right.
I mean, and I'm not talking about like a couple of years ago. I'm talking about back in the 90s
Right.
a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if people remember, but when he was dating Jennifer Lopez, something went down.
The gun, remember they got shot.
Shine.
And she broke up right after. She's like, I want to live.
Yeah.
Yeah. They was in a nightclub or something.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And here's the funny thing about it. Back then, you had Bad Boy
Mm-hmm.
and you had Death Row Records.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody thought that the real gangster in this scene was Suge Knight.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, the real gangster in this scene has been Sean P. Diddy Combs.
With them 1,000 bottles of baby oil.
What's with the baby? I heard about that.
That was with the freak downs or freakums.
I heard. Listen, and it got so bad.
Sexual trafficking.
So for people who haven't caught up with this story as much as you probably should have, Sean P. Diddy Combs has been indicted and arrested on sex exploitation, sexual battery, and there's one other count that I can't think of right now. But it was so bad, Rep, that they were saying that they had people there with IV bottles.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody got tired or got dehydrated, they'll pump them with some IV and send it right back
I
out.
keep them going, man.
That is absolutely madness to me.
It is, man. But I mean, there's the story by Christopher Williams. Somebody walked in on P. Diddy and Christopher Williams, you know who he is? He's
Yeah, the singer, yeah.
And then Justin
Wait.
Bieber has this song. Where,
Oh no, that's Albie Sure, who's his stepson's. Okay, yeah, but Christopher
and
Will.
then
Okay.
even Janet Jackson said that dude ruined me.
Oh, about P?
Yeah.
Oh, so I never heard that.
Yeah, this is some crazy stuff. It's time for it to come to an end.
But remember, Usher, about 3 years ago, because apparently there was this thing called Diddy Camp.
Mm-hmm.
And Usher's mom sent him to Diddy Camp.
Mm-hmm.
And someone asked Usher, would you send your child to Diddy Camp? And I think
Right.
that's the first time I ever heard Usher curse
Right.
with the big curse words. Not the little, but the big curse words. And he said no. And apparently something, like you said, was been going on. And now it's starting to come out. And then also, I've heard, and I don't know how true this is, but remember Kim Porter.
Right.
They're saying that now there's going to be some additional investigations as to what happened to Kim Porter behind this.
Well, they changed the findings of the autopsy result on that.
They did.
Yeah, so one thing says she might have died from drugs. I think that something else said she died from another reason. But there's 3 or 4 folk that was supposedly around at the beginning of the P. Diddy thing, and 3 or 4 of them have died from heart attacks or whatever. It's just coincidental.
Right. And that's the reason, and for people who don't know, he's still in jail right now.
Right.
And one of the reasons why he's still in jail is because of, number one, the amount of money that he has. He's a flight risk, but also witness intimidation. Because they said that he's known for, if something happens, getting people and making sure that
Think
whatever
about what
it is-
happened to Eazy-E. That, you know,
Oh.
Eazy-E say he remembers when he got shot up with
I
aliens.
remember hearing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, these folks play for keeps.
Yeah.
And we're talking about a whole lot of money here. So
Yeah.
we don't know how much money P. Diddy got. We don't know how many folks he exploited. I'm sure they got some records, but you know, them freakdoms was, that's some crazy stuff, man.
They say that they have hundreds of hours of video. And, you know, the more interesting thing about this is that they have not named any other defendants in this case just yet, which is a possible indication
Mhm.
that folks are cooperating. But now remember, let's also remember how this even started to come about was because of the lawsuit, the civil lawsuit that his ex-girlfriend filed against him, Cassie. And then we saw the video, which people were horrified when they saw
The
that.
camel that broke the straw's back.
Yeah, yeah,
The
and
straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah, and apparently she was trying to escape from a freak off then.
Right. Crazy stuff, man.
But why is it that you think that people see this and go through this and say nothing? I mean, this was like radio silence. Nobody said anything.
R. Kelly.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes on. It's been going on in the industry for years. I mean, you talk to people in the industry, it's been going on. They just don't talk about it because that's how they get to where they ultimately end up.
Right.
You know, they trying to say Jay-Z's in this thing.
I heard
You
that
know,
too.
that's some crazy stuff. But I mean, you think about those characters. Those are some characters in
Yeah.
this music industry.
Yeah.
Whether it was Tupac, Suge Knight, P. Diddy, all them folk, man, they on chain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I had a small foray in the music industry. I used to represent a group over in Southeast Asia. It didn't really get that crazy, but I saw some things, the access that these guys have, and different things like that. It is, and if it was on that level, I can only imagine getting up to that, death row.
Go back
Bad
to
Boy
Nelly
Records,
and the
things
tip
like
drill video.
that.
That was reality.
Mm.
You know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're
Yeah.
talking about. I know exactly what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
and if you remember during that time, Snoop Dogg and the other guys, they started making porno videos because they had
people
willing
forgot
people,
about that.
yeah,
That's
to get
people
in
don't
the
even
videos.
talk about
right.
that, but he sure did.
Yeah.
And then it just and then he started hanging out with Martha Stewart. Started hanging out with Martha Stewart. But Cat Williams was one of the other people that said
He be telling everything.
he told off.
Right.
He told off. But Cat Williams said that he was offered $50 million
I saw that.
to do whatever.
Right.
And I thought he was crazy.
Right.
I thought it was crazy. But then when you start looking at the people who may be implicated in this and how they went from little known to a massive amount of wealth right now,
Right.
it makes you wonder.
And it ain't because they the best musicians.
Nah,
It is
Nah.
because they
they
did
played the
whatever
game.
needed to be done.
They played the game.
Yeah.
They played the game.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's going to be interesting to watch. I was talking to somebody and they were saying, I just want to see the tape. I was like, I don't think we ever going to see the tape, but we're going to continue to see the fallout from it. But the other thing that's interesting because P. Diddy Combs, he was arrested in New York. The same district attorney that went after Sean Puff Daddy or P. Diddy Combs also hit us with a bombshell last week as well when Mayor Adams, New York Mayor Adams,
Right.
was indicted
Right.
for bribery and campaign finance violations.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some folk that say it's only $10,000 involved. They're like, man, that's petty change.
Yeah.
Petty change for somebody who is the mayor of New York. Now, if I'm running for office, my race costs about $30,000. Now,
Right.
there are some Senate races in the state of Florida that might cost $5 or $10 million, right? You start talking about Rick Scott, man, you're talking about $75 million to $100 million. You
Yeah.
start talking about Barack Obama, Kamala, and Donald Trump. Now you're talking billions,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And the city the size of New York with 10 million folk, if all you got is $10,000,
Yeah.
that ain't nothing. There's some bigger fish there.
So now, here's the thing though, because a lot of the violations, or a lot of the instances of bribery were while or before he was running for mayor. So $10,000 to a police chief, well, I don't know, but even to a police chief though, that's not a lot of.
Ain't no money. It's money, but it's not a whole lot of money in the bigger scheme of things.
It's got to be something else there. It's
And
got to be
then
something
again,
else
it
there.
may not be.
But now you think, because they say this prosecutor's tight work.
Yeah.
Yale, Cambridge, Harvard, worked his way up through the SDNY, which is the Southern District of New York. And they say that when he swing, he don't miss.
Yeah, they can miss too. I mean, Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh yeah, yeah,
What we got from that?
yeah, yeah.
And we know there's a whole lot there. Yeah.
So listen, Rep. I mean, tonight, we had a great conversation, man. We talked a little bit about this, a little bit about that, but all in all, I think it was a great conversation. I think that that folks got a chance to know you a little bit better. and to see what you're about. You're not just a legislator that's up there fighting on the Hill. We know that you're all about business and serious up there, but it's good to see that you can come and have some fun and just talk to Let's Talk Nation, man.
And again, I'm thankful that you and Rod decided to invite me to be here tonight on Let's Talk Nation, man, because, I tune in.
Listen, man, no, we appreciate it, man. We appreciate it.
We're going to
Listen,
have some good conversations.
listen, you tuned in so much, you gave us a special invitation that you can be able to come to that breakfast. when other people ain't getting no invitation.
Right. yeah.
So, no, man, we appreciate you too. But as we get ready to circle back, we have about 3 or 4 minutes left. The amendments,
Okay.
the hot button topics, obviously, are Amendment 3 and 4, the recreational marijuana. What do you think's going to happen with that this year?
I think both of those amendments will pass, the
Okay.
abortion amendment and the reefer amendment. I have mixed emotions about Amendment 3 dealing with legalized marijuana, because I just don't like walking. I go to D.C. once a month, and folk walking around smelling like reefer on the train,
Yeah.
man, and I fear that's going to happen here, but at the same time, if it passes, our young black men will not, and young black women will not be getting locked up for smoking some reefer, right?
So now, here's the thing, because we have this conversation now. That's because not all black men, not all young black men and young black girls smoke.
Right.
So it's only
I
going to be
agree.
ones that smoke.
Mhm.
But now, what happens for the person that's caught with 3 ounces or less,
Mm-hmm.
but they can't trace or they cannot prove that they got that 3 ounces or less from an approved distillery or approved dispensary? That's the part that I'm trying to figure out myself.
Well, I'll tell you what happens here. So when a constitutional amendment passes, then it goes back to the legislature, and then we actually come up with the language. So those kinds of things are the things that you have to bring to my attention or other legislators, and then we have to try to make sure that that is incorporated into the law.
And I'm glad you told me that, because that question actually came up yesterday during the voter education forum. And so you're absolutely right, because the thought process is, now we have this law, what language do we need to make sure that it does what it needs to do and doesn't go awry? So that's the one safeguard, the constitutional amendment, but we have the legislators who are going to put the language to it to make sure that we don't have the wild, wild west out there. I feel better about that.
Yeah, one of the discussions we had in the panel in 2016 in Jacksonville was the people that drive the forklifts, right? That drive heavy equipment, right? And they around there smoking reefer all day, right? How did that work in the workplace?
Right.
Can the employer say you can't come to work?
Yeah, if you high.
Right, if you're
Yeah.
high. Or we're gonna do some drug testing. See, we gotta work all that stuff out,
Yeah,
man.
because if someone comes to work drunk,
Right.
they can't be there.
Right.
If someone is taking prescription medications, they can't be at work and things like that. So yeah, I mean, there are definitely some things, and so I feel a lot better because I know I'm going to be sitting on a couple other panels about this. So at least I can say I've had some conversations.
Right.
I have a better feeling about if it's passed and when it passes. The legislature is going to go in and they're going to tighten up the stuff.
Yeah, and let me touch on the abortion amendment, which is Amendment 4, right? So 6 weeks. I mean, when we passed that thing in the legislature, I had some young Republican lobbyists coming up to me in the hall. I didn't know who they were.
Yeah.
And they like, hey, man, me and my wife didn't find out that she was pregnant until week 8 or
Right.
week 10, right?
Right.
And we did in vitro fertilization, right?
Yeah.
So they're like, this is going to mess up everybody. Doctors are not performing abortions on women who are almost dying from complications. I mean, this 6-week ban here in Florida is crazy. We could have left it at 15 weeks and we've been fine. But it became a political football.
Yeah.
That's all it was,
Yeah.
right? Political football, trying to score some points. And it's wreaking havoc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Healthcare providers really and truly are afraid because of what may happen in their patients.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah. Well, listen, Rep, I'm glad we had a chance to talk. We definitely got to get you back on here
Okay.
again. But as my cohort, my good friend, my buddy, my pal, the other half of the dynamic duo would say, you don't have to go home, but you got to get out of here. Until next week, Rep may be here, he may not, but I know the other ball guy, Brother Love's going to be here with us. So we'll see y'all next week. Be good, y'all.